and welcome to day 6. Today we're going to be talking about revamping your relationship. Maybe things feel really stale at the moment and you're stuck in routine and in a rut. What are some ways to kind of get out of that and refreshen things up and reconnect? So here are some 7 ways that you can do that. Number 1, spend time together away from distractions. So if you find that you're spending most of your time at home and it's in front of a screen, computer screen or TV screen or phone screen, then it's time to get out of the house. Commit to not looking at your phone and really spending time together. It doesn't have to be getting away every single weekend to some romantic getaway, but it can be just getting out and going for a walk and connecting and talking, or doing an activity together. Do you have a home and your yard needs some spiffing up? Do a house project that's not too stressful, but something that's kind of fun, like plant some flowers or, a new flower bed. But just make sure that you're spending time without any distractions and you're really connecting and communicating with each other. Which brings us to our next one, which is improve your communication skills. Take a step back, take a pulse, find out how you're at communicating with each other. Are you able to sit down and have a conversation and work through your problems? Is there some ongoing issues in your relationship that you keep sweeping under the rug and ignoring because maybe you feel your partner is not hearing you and not, taking it seriously? This may be a good time too to if you haven't already, visit a therapist or a life coach to help you communicate. Sometimes it really helps to seek outside help and find that there are new ways to communicate and ways maybe we didn't even think about. So sometimes having, a professional really, really does help. You don't have to wait until things are bad to go see a therapist or a life coach. You should always just do that way ahead of time. So the next one, get out of your comfort zone. So if you are feeling like you're stuck and you're in a stale relationship, that means that you got comfortable and complacent. And this is when you need to get out of your comfort zone. So maybe there is something you've always talked about wanting to do. Maybe whether it's going on a trip, going to Vegas. Maybe you guys always talked about going to Vegas together. Or plan a trip. Maybe you can't afford it now, but maybe set a date for next year and start planning for it. Sometimes just planning for a vacation and a trip is fun in itself. You can cuddle up together and, look at all the different hotels and the different attractions. Or sometimes, just try something new. Have you ever gone to a play? Maybe go to a play together or go see a baseball game or try something new together, but get out of your normal routine and out of your comfort zone and try something new that neither one of you have tried before. Which it would be number 4, try something new together. So this can be something as simple as, taking a class together, an art class or a yoga class, trying a new way of cooking, maybe go to a new restaurant. So if you get out of your comfort zone, like number 3, the 4, it means, trying something new. So number 5, redecorate your room. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to revamp your room, but maybe take a look at it. Do you need some new sheets? Do you need some new bedding? How's your room decorated? What's on the walls? What is it? What kind of statement are you making there? Really make your room your sanctuary, This is the room where both of you, it should be a sacred space for both of you. So you don't have to spend a lot of money, but maybe just clear it out, make sure all the clutter and junk's out of there, and maybe hang up pictures of, like, let's say you got married, so hang up your wedding pictures, or hang up pictures where you went on vacation, or happy memories, or maybe there's some souvenirs that you bought on one of your weekend getaways. Put that around. Anything that kind of celebrates your love and your relationship, put it up there. On your bedroom, in your bedroom. 6, start a hobby together. So maybe there is something that you guys always wanted to try to do, such as a hobby like, I don't know. Maybe it's painting. Maybe you wanted to start a softball team, an adult softball team. Maybe you want to go golfing. It could be anything, really, but, try an activity together and it's new, and have fun with it. So, number 7, make a list about your favorite things that you love about each other. So I know in one of the prior videos I said make a gratitude list. This is kind of like making a gratitude list, but together. So maybe you can sit down if you have some quiet time and just make a list of the things that you really love about your partner. Some of the favorite things. What do you love about them? What are some characteristics, traits that you like? What are some things that you really appreciate about them? Maybe your partner is really talented at cooking, or maybe they keep their car really, really clean and you really, really appreciate that. Just stuff like that. It doesn't have to be anything major, it can be small, but every once in a while, it's good to sit down with your partner and just make a list of what you love about them and what are some favorite things that are uniquely them that you love about them. So that is all for today. I hope you find these tips helpful, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.
Is it possible to become too comfortable in a relationship? Let's talk about some signs that you are too comfortable in your relationship and it is causing problems. It's an amazing feeling when you get to a point in your relationship where you can relax and completely be your true self. However, you want this comfort to remain positive. If you are too comfortable, you may find that you stop putting any effort in. You may be giving off the energy that you are too comfortable. In a relationship, you want to get to the point where you are not stressed about all the little things. Now, some people might tell you that that's a bad thing. Feeling confident and safe enough in your relationship to fully relax is actually really an amazing thing. They call it getting comfortable because it feels good. Comfortable isn't giving up or letting yourself go. It is a totally necessary step in any relationship that is going to go the distance. You can only make excuses to run home for a number 2 for so long. But even more importantly, being supremely comfortable with each other is how you actually get closer to each other. It's a sign of trust. It's also a sign of connection. Here's how you know you've reached the maximum comfort level with your partner. Number one, when you've entered the comfort zone in your relationship, you can talk about, literally anything. You've developed enough trust that you can be vulnerable with them and spill your heart and your secrets and know that they are all safe. However, you still need to speak to each other in a loving and respectful way or tone, not being disrespectful or vulgar. Number two, personal grooming may become less of a priority. I'm not saying you should go into full-on dirty hermit mode. That would be a classic sign of being too comfortable. Personal hygiene is of importance in a relationship. Showering regularly is a must-do. If you don't shave for a few days or rush to put on makeup, that is totally okay. In fact, it's a good thing. It means that you know your partner loves you for who you are and not because your eyebrows are on point today. Third would be communication. It's amazing to get to the point of being able to finish each other's sentences. However, be aware of becoming so comfortable that you stop communicating. We are humans and all yearn for a connection. You didn't get into this relationship without some sort of communication. If you let it fall by the wayside, so will the relationship. You both must put in effort to keep the lines of communication open. It's a big sign that you are too comfortable or there are other problems if you stop communicating. Another side of this spectrum is being comfortable together in silence. Alone with being able to talk about anything and everything, you're just as comfy talking about nothing at all. You don't even realize it's happening because it just feels so natural. This is not to be confused with being too comfortable. Fourth, you are comfortable laughing and joking together. Do the laughs come easy because you're comfortable? Or are you comfortable because the laughs come so easy? When you're in the comfort zone, it comes with a pretty fantastic laugh track. You both know how to make the other one crack up. It is as easy as slipping into your favorite old holy sweatpants, right? However, this should not be confused with one or the other, partner being the butt of the jokes. That would definitely fall into the category of being too comfortable. Reaching this comfortable, yet not too comfortable stage of a relationship involves a delicate balance. Because being comfortable with another person can be one of the most enjoyable and rewarding parts of a relationship. You just want the comfort to spark any negatives. You might feel like you really know your partner deeply now, but it's a mistake to believe you always know what they are thinking or feeling. This is a setup for disappointment. Disappointment can sometimes feel like rejection, no matter how comfortable you feel. Communication is always the key. I am Wendy Johnson with Wendy Johnson's Life Coaching in St. Paul's Free University.
Hi, and welcome back to Permaculture Relationships, Phase 6, Surviving the Seasons. I'm Daniel with offgridpermaculture.com, and today we're going to talk about how you can use permaculture principles to build up your ideal relationship. If you haven't been following along with the series, and you may be wondering, what exactly is a permaculture relationship? Well, permaculture is a word that comes from the word permanent and the word agriculture, but also human. And so I'm going to be discussing elements of permaculture from the aspect of human relationships. How can human relationships be used to further life on this planet, to build ourselves a better lifestyle, a more abundant lifestyle, and a healthier, richer lifestyle? Permaculture, likewise, is the study of patterns in nature and applying it to human systems. So I'm going to be using natural patterns as a basis for developing a healthy, happy relationship. This phase, phase 6, comes from the 7 phases of love and is comfort. Right? At this phase in our relationship, we've gone through the trials and tribulations, we've gone through the love, the infatuation, that really aggressive, chemically based love, and now we're to kind of being bored. Right? We've gone through all the hard times, we've gone through the good times, we've gone through the other hard times, we've gone through some good times again, and now it feels like maybe there isn't a whole lot more to do. We're just kind of coasting along. This is that old couple stage, and it can be quite trying. A lot of relationships that do get to this phase don't necessarily make it to the ideal 7th phase of the 7 phases of love, because that withering feeling really does get in the way. So what we're going to be talking about is how do we get over this feeling of comfort. And in my perspective, from a permaculture perspective, everything needs to have a purpose, right? Nature has a really profound way of getting rid of things which don't give back, right? Nature doesn't really like parasites. There are some, but they tend to not survive long in any particular area in any great number, because they make the world around them worse, and they make their own survival less and less likely over time. And relationships, I think, do the same thing, right? If a relationship isn't giving back to the rest of the world around it, then it's likely to be killed off over time, whether through internal self-destruction or through external forces that tend to break it apart. And the way to get past comfort is to look outward and to develop goals, to develop a purpose for the relationship that extends just beyond the two of you. So this excitement, like, human beings are such goal-oriented creatures. We love when we feel like we're progressing in the direction of something. And now that our relationship has gotten to the point where there isn't much more left that we can do in the relationship to make it stronger, we need something that we can give out, give away. And so a lot of times traditionally, this was focused around either just plain survival. Like, it was so difficult enough to survive consistently that just having a good, comfortable year wasn't boring at all. It was really fun and it was really fulfilling. And so a relationship just focused on doing that, and also on raising children. But in modern society, it's not as difficult to raise children as it maybe used to be, 200 or 300 years ago. And also, it's not nearly as difficult to survive. So we need more than that. And I find that it's much more profound to do things which give back to the earth, which give back to those in need, and give back to future generations. So it's not necessarily just about giving back to other people, but it's giving back in ways which make a difference, giving back to people that actually need it, rather than just, I have neighbors and it's nice to give them something, but it's even better to give somebody something when they absolutely have to have it, or when it makes a huge difference in their life. Human beings are best when they actually are creatures that make the world, their space in the world, their plot of land or their community, better than when they got there. So permaculture teaches that human beings should be a force of good. Right now, so much of what we're doing on the planet is overall destructive, in the sense that we can't continue doing what we're doing now indefinitely. We're using up, and we're taking up, and we're filling with trash, and doing things which our great-grandchildren and our great-great-grandchildren aren't really pleased that we're doing. And life on Earth isn't, separate from us. We have this perspective that what we do is artificial, and what every other organism on the planet does is natural. But really, we're part of nature. But unfortunately, we're not necessarily working with nature, because what we're doing makes the natural system less and less productive. And it's really extremely profound. You may be on one side or the other of climate change or whatever, but it's pretty apparent to anybody that looks that human beings can change things on the face of the planet, whether it's the temperature or whether it's just large-scale pollution or the trash in the oceans. we have a major impact on the planet, and we're not the only organism that's done it. If you look in the ancient prehistory, the Great Oxidation Event, before that, there wasn't any oxygen on the planet Earth at all. In the atmosphere, there wasn't just oxygen around. There wasn't oxygen so that we could live and animals could live on the face of the Earth. And it was plants, specifically microorganisms, that produced all of the oxygen that was there and made it possible for life to even exist. And if life can make the Earth so much more productive like they did, we can make the Earth more productive in our own way. The unique thing about human beings is that we actually have the ability to plan. We have the ability to use logic and to look at what's there and rearrange it in a way that it's so much better than it was before. There's some research that shows that one of the reasons why the American West and the Pacific Northwest, where I am, was so productive and had so many salmon in the rivers and had so much wildlife is because the Native Americans actually knew how to manage it in a way with certain prescribed burning and practices that they did. And even though they weren't farming per se, they were assisting nature to provide more and more abundance over time. And there's no reason why us, a space age technology can't use its smarts and our intelligence, and us as individuals use our time and efforts to leave the Earth better than when we started. If nothing else, leave the plot of land that we're giving to our children, or just the community around us that we're leaving to those, in future generations, to be more productive. For people to say, I'm really glad that that couple and that person lived there, because what they started with is not nearly as good as what they left. And if every generation does that, we're working to build a paradise on Earth. So if relationships are going to be long-lasting, they have to give back. We expect chickens in our homestead to not just be, mouths to feed, but they give back in the form of food for us in various forms. They peck the ground, they eat insects that may be pests otherwise. They provide manure, right? Even just a simple chicken has to give back in so many ways. And our relationship has to give back in so many ways for it to be valuable and for it to be worth persisting in society. We have the option now as human beings, we have it within our grasp, I believe, with technologically and with the amount of information that's available to us, to build a Garden of Eden on Earth. The Garden of Eden is something that won't be given to us. It's something we have to make for ourselves, but it's certainly possible. And, one of the steps in that is building a strong relationship. So I'm going to be talking about 2 methods that you can use to help get your relationship through this phase. And, this is a relatively late phase in the 7 phases, but even if you're not quite there yet, it can be valuable to work through these now. So I have a link below and at the end of this series of slides to a PDF handout of these questions if you want to work through them yourselves, and also recordings of this video if you're watching it live available as well. So method 1 is giving back. And so this series of questions leads you through what can you do to turn your relationship into something that is productive and gives back to society around you. So 1 is, what unique skills do you have as a couple? Identifying what you can do that's different than everyone else is probably where the most benefit comes for you operating that realm. And then secondly, what have you done to give back in the past to your children, to other family members, people in the community, the community as a structure, and to the Earth? Taking what you have done and making it even better and better and better is often a great way to go. Third, what skills would you need to learn to give back more? And this really opens up the door to, I'm doing some stuff, but what could I be doing? I'm really good at these certain things. I have certain skills, but maybe I need to develop them even further so I can be a more powerful force for good. Lastly, how can we as a couple maximize our positive impact on the world? Just ask yourself that question, and you may be surprised what comes up, especially when you're with your partner together and you're amplifying your energies. A lot of times, really surprising type of suggestions may just be thrown out of nowhere, and you say, why haven't we done that yet? So it's a great opportunity, and I recommend going through this with your partner and by yourself as fairly frequently, and take a look at what you're doing to give back. Second method is finding life's purpose. And this is something that is probably best done by yourself, but it's possible to do it as a couple. And if you don't know what your life's purpose is, the thing that really drives you, then there's a huge opportunity there to really grow, and as a person and as a person in a relationship. So this is a very simple method, and I recommend just get a quiet place where you will not be interrupted. Get a piece of paper or a notebook, and just start writing and start going, and be committed to finishing this. As long as it takes. Sometimes just having that affirmation in the beginning will make it work more quickly, right? If you kind of know that if you're just planning on doing this for 5 or 10 minutes and then you're going to give up, then you probably won't find what you end up looking for. But when the subconscious knows that you're serious, kind of like a petulant child, it's going to go, oh well, I better start ponying up the goods, because I'm going to be here for a long time if I don't. So step one, just the first thing that comes to your head, write down your life's purpose. Just a sentence. My life's purpose is to blah 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 blank. Period. Right? Read it back to yourself. Give it a few seconds to mull over, and then write the next thing that comes to your head, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and keep doing it up until it makes you cry, until you feel that strong emotion. Right? Life's purpose isn't about having a beautiful intellectual plan and a deep, complicated, working, or even just feeling proud about it, or feeling that you would be, propped up by society because you've done it. What you need is something that really makes you cry deep down, with joy, the thought of it. So those are the two methods for today. This has been phase 6 of permaculture relationships, surviving the seasons. So you can get downloads of these slides, of those handout worksheets on my website, offgridpermaculture.com/relationships, as well as all the previous videos in the series. So if you like this, be sure to check those out. And if you're watching this live, be sure to come back tomorrow for the final phase, phase 7 of permaculture relationships.
Healthy love is the sweetest phase of love. To get to this phase, you had to exert a lot of thought about commitment and support. Now, you don't have to think about it. Your relationship is now a natural extension of yourself. When you are looking out for the best interests of your partner in every way, you are deeply concerned with your partner's personal growth and expansion into the greatest version of him or herself. And guess what? Your partner feels the same way about you. This is the sweetest spot of shared consciousness where you both fully respect each other. You not only support each other, but because of the time you've spent together honing your love skills, you shift into that phase where love and your full support flows effortlessly through every aspect of your relationship. You no longer look for ways to be together or to include your beloved. You're just naturally finding yourself in each other's presence, and it's effortless. You and your partner are both living out your ideal of your highest and best, both independently and co-creatively as a couple. Up to this point, there may have been a part of you that may have been skeptical about your partner's love for you. Or you may have had the occasional hint of jealousy or suspicion, but not anymore. You're falling into the safety and security of your love. You let go of expectations, and you are less connected to expected outcomes as you're becoming more flexible and accepting of what is, or whatever comes your way. There's no competition or concern about who's going to give up what, as compromise just seems to fade away as you see your mate and your relationship through the eyes of love. Your love is blossoming into a cooperative celebration of life together. There's no having to be careful about what you say or worry about if you'll be misunderstood. And the big T, we hear a lot about trust all the time as it's some elusive thing, but when you've made it to healthy love, trust, openness, and honesty are a given. This is the most mature phase of love, as you are less concerned with fighting for what is right and are finding yourself more and more okay with life as it is. The drone of drama and trauma also fades away as love and compassion takes their place. You are less concerned with your own selfish desires, as you too are feeling like you both have independence and are also developing a composite personality and love hybrid third personality representing you both as an expression of yourselves, which is more powerful than either of you would have been by yourself. Now, I know this sounds like your partner is clinging onto you if you've never experienced this phase, but it's nothing like that. You have your own friends, interests, hobbies, and life outside the relationship, and your partner supports these relationships without being suspicious, and of course, you have the same respect for your partner's freedom of expression as well. You are at peace with your own independence while you also revel in the third corporate personality, which is an outpouring of your love relationship. So, are there no boundaries? No, there are boundaries. You get to set whatever boundaries you think are necessary. Though in this phase, there is no resistance. There is honor and grace in respecting you and your boundaries, whatever they may be, with a smile. And responsibility a-poppin'. There's no need to hide or cover up anything. If you make a mistake, no problem. You're able to share what really happened, no storytelling necessary, and own up to your own stuff, even if it's a little awkward. You know you will be loved and accepted for who you are, and you might be able to laugh at yourself with your partner about the things that might have been tragic or you may have felt would have threatened your relationship before. If you feel like there was an expectation to serve your partner or play certain roles in your relationship, in healthy love, that demarcation of those roles are less hard and fast as it becomes more a cooperative expression of love. Not a you do this and I do that, as either of us are apt to just do about anything in support of the other in love. Now, don't expect it all to be heart, rainbows, and butterflies. There will be challenges that arise, but you are learning how to handle conflict differently now. Emotional outbursts will be few and far between. You can work through your issues without yelling or belittling your partner. Your communication skills in hard times are good. You've learned when to listen and wait for your turn to speak, for the most part, though this is an ongoing process of love. When you hit difficult times, your partner is there, empathetically to share in your discomfort, maybe sharing tears with you, or powerfully positive support. And when the good times roll, and there's cause for celebration, there's no more enthusiastic hoorah as those offered by your partner, who is just as proud of you when you shine as he or she might be of a baby taking his first steps. The struggle for survival against the odds disintegrates as you face unexpected challenges with the mastery of a sensei who instinctively responds in wisdom and authority, and your resolve is rarely, if ever, shaken. And your dreams, though they may be separate from your partner's dreams, are enthusiastically celebrated as well, while he or she offers the skills and abilities to you to help you achieve your goals and dreams with no account keeping, no expectation of repayment. No other couple celebrates, parties, or has more fun than the couples in a healthy relationship, as their love is all about celebration of each other as well as others. Healthy love is tender and kind, full of empathy and heartfelt compassion. Your love vibration is at a constant frequency as your experience expands beyond compatibility and is expressed as a true union, celebrating this expansive co-creative expression of your love as it radiates through the community. You bathe in a sea of peace and harmony, and other people notice. They might think it's too good to be true, but it's so true. It's far surpassed goodness and more closely resembles bliss. So if you want to find out more about healthy love, check in with my friends at St. Paul's Free University or contact me. I'm David M. Masters, and you can find me at davidmmasters.com.
What if your partner is not emotionally available? Wow, that's a hard one. If your partner is not emotionally available, you need to really look at your relationship and decide if that's something you want to stay with. And there are trade-offs. There are times when you have a big investment in a relationship. You have children together. Who knows? But the human being has emotional needs. We as humans have emotional needs, and we need to somehow have those fulfilled. That's an important part of being human. We have our physical, we have our emotional, we have our intellectual, we have our spiritual needs, and we have our, what's the one I'm forgetting? Creative needs. All of those are important to also explore to balance yourself if your emotional needs aren't being met. But I do want to say, you need to meet your emotional needs. If it's not in your marriage, then girlfriends, that's what girlfriends are for. And girlfriends are, that's where we do our sharing and loving a lot. Now, the other thing is explore if he really is he might be in an emotionally available relationship outside the marriage. So, I mean, that's certainly a signal that there might be something going on outside the marriage if he's not emotionally available to you. And that may be something that you don't really want to face, or you're facing it and you've decided the trade-off is good enough in that marriage. There's other good things that you want. So just be aware that you do need, for your own sanity, I recommend you do get in a consultant relationship so you can really explore if that staying in the marriage is what you want. But understood, there are trade-offs.